Welcome to the Gallant Few, the Rangers podcast, who are proudly sponsored by the Insurance Practice. The team at the Insurance Practice specialise in family protection and life insurance, and who better to look after you and your loved ones than fellow Rangers fans. Check out the website at www.theinsurancepractice.co.uk or contact the Gallant Few for more information.
Hello, and how do you do? Welcome to the second episode of Generation Bears here on the Gallant Few. Each show we have a guest on to discuss their hero from the generation that they started following Rangers and who cemented their love for the club. This could be a player or a manager, and we also discuss the most memorable moments on or off the pitch that led to them becoming the hero of each generation Bear. I am your host Scott Carney, and joining me tonight is my good friend Ally Pearson. Hello, Ally.
Hi Scott, it's good to be here. It's good to talk about Super Ally.
So Ally, following on from the first episode where Colin made us both feel rather old when he picked Ronald de Boer as his Generation Bears hero, you have picked someone much more in keeping with our childhood. As you've just said there, you have chosen the one, the only, the super and every mum's favourite player, Mr. Ally McCoist. So without giving too much away about the games you've picked to talk about on the show, and not that you need much of a reason to pick the record goal scorer for our club, but why Alistair McCoist?
Why Ally McCoist? Most people would probably think because my name's Ali or Alistair, I was named after Ally McCoist. Unfortunately, I can't claim that, although I do say my dad did name me after Ally McCoist. In fact, I did meet Ally McCoist in the airport when he was going on holiday once, and he got my autograph for him, and he said to Ali, he said, "You've got the same name as my son, but it's spelt the wrong way. Mine's spelt the Scottish way with a D and his is a T." So I noised him up about that. But no, I've got his autograph. But no, I mean, Colin's one with Ronald de Boer, like you say, made me feel old, because when Ronald de Boer left Rangers, he was there, I think, 3-4 years. I mean, I could go to the pub then and have a drink and stuff and watch that. But I mean, we grew up through probably one of the best years, 9 in a row. Great team, full of Scottish players as well, homegrown players. But Ally McCoist for me was he was the guy that when I was playing football, I played up front all the time. I wanted to score the goals like him. I had Ally McCoist in the back of my top as well. He was my hero growing up. I mean, obviously you had Loudrup, you had the Gascoigne later on, you had more of the flair players. But to me, Ally McCoist, to me, he's like Mr. Rangers, like a kind of John Gregg. He's right up there, and that's why he's my hero.
That's fair enough, mate. I completely agree. I say McCoist was maybe in his prime just before I kind of started getting into Rangers. And the moments we're coming to talk about, I had to look back on. But I mean, he's arguably the best Rangers striker we've ever had or probably ever will have. So, yeah, completely understandable why you've picked Ally McCoist. So just before we get into the games, I'll just do a kind of brief background on McCoist. I can't go into full depth, or I would literally be here all night talking about McCoist's career. But Alistair Murdoch McCoist, MBE, was born on the 24th of September in 1962 in Bellshill, Scotland. McCoist started his professional playing career at St Johnstone, making 57 appearances and scoring 22 goals. He had a spell in England with Sunderland after that from 81 to 83, before making the move back to Scotland to join Rangers. McCoist spent a remarkable 15 years at the club, making a total of 581 appearances and scoring a record 355 goals. During his time at Rangers, he won 2 European Golden Boots in season 91-92 for 39 goals and 49 appearances, and 92-93 for an even better record of 49 goals and 52 appearances. His honour at the club as a player include 10 league title medals, 9 League Cup medals and a Scottish Cup medal. He was also awarded an MBE in 1994 for his services to football. After Rangers, McCoist moved to Kilmarnock in 1998 and retired from playing in 2001. He also made a total of 61 appearances for Scotland, scoring 19 goals. So, Ali, that's McCoist's playing career kind of briefly summed up. His scoring goal for record kind of speaks for itself, does it not?
No, it's 355 goals. I mean, who realistically is going to come close to that? I mean, will somebody come close to that again? Probably not, to be honest. I mean, you see players these days, they're at clubs, probably maximum, you give it players these days 3, 4, 5 years maximum, and you turn them around again. So it's to get to that, I really doubt in my lifetime I'll see those type of goals again. But and you look at his medals he's won, it's frightening.
Absolutely is. It's an unbelievable Rangers career, it really is. So McCoist did return to Rangers in 2007 as Walter Smith's assistant before taking the reins himself in 2011. McCoist was in charge for 3.5 seasons with a record of 121 wins in 167 games, which is a win rate of just over 72%. But his managerial career definitely speaks better on paper than it does watching it in real life, does it not, mate?
Yeah, I know we're going to talk about the playing career of McCoist, which I think we should do, and always remember him as the player he was for Rangers. There is a couple of fans, because his managerial record wasn't as good and what happened, I think they forget what a player he was. Maybe that's a generation in terms of people that maybe didn't see him as a player and don't really remember that. But I mean, his win record is good, but I mean, we were down in the lower divisions, the banter years, if you want to call it, for a while. But I mean, what Rangers manager had to go through what he went. If he had a clean slate and could do it, Walter and other managers, even Steven Gerrard now, would it be different? You don't know, to be honest. But no, it wasn't great at the end up. I mean, you could see with him, he was. You could just tell by the look on his face and his demeanour. I think he'd had enough, to be honest. And you see him now in TalkSport and in Sky Sports. The guy looks much happier. He looks healthier. And I want to remember him as Ally McCoist, the player, than obviously Ally McCoist, the manager. But I mean, he would do anything for Rangers.
I couldn't agree more, mate. The managerial career didn't really end in the most kind of spectacular way, obviously. I will forever remember Ally McCoist for being the player, and Ally McCoist to me will always be a Rangers legend, and he'll forever be welcome at the club. So I'd say we'll leave his manager career there, and we'll get straight on into the moments that you have picked to talk about. So game 1 is Rangers v Celtic at Hampden Park on the 31st of March 1992. I was only 4, mate.
I wasn't much older.
The lineup that day was Gorham, Stevens, Gough, Brown, Robertson, McCall, Spackman, Durrant, Hustera, Gordon and McCoist. Ally, why this game in particular if you choose to start with?
Again, I was young then. I mean, you're talking 92. I would have been 7 back then. So, I mean, it's quite hard to rack my brain for this one, to be honest. I remember bits and bobs of it, but to me, it kind of summed up a Walter Smith Rangers playing Celtic. I mean, how many times do we play Celtic and get a 1-0 win? But this one was a bit more special. It was at Hampden. It was a semi-cup final. The weather was horrific. I mean, like we discussed kind of off air before, they described the weather on the, if you actually watch on YouTube, there's a bit about the weather and the wind and stuff, which you only really get watching the horses and stuff these days, which was a bit weird. You don't get that these days, but it was, to me, it was a typical Walter Smith Rangers performance. I mean, in that game, after only 5 minutes, David Robertson sent off for I think the referee was thinking it was maybe an elbow into the Celtic player, but it was in a condition. To me, it was a yellow all day long. We went down to 10 men, so you've got 85 minutes in the conditions it was in against Celtic to get into the final. It's an uphill battle. But to be fair, the first half, when Rangers went down to 10 men, they played quite well, had a couple of good chances. Celtic didn't offer overly much in the first half. I think Rangers were actually quite happy to maybe get at half-time 0-0, regroup and go again. But literally just before half-time, Stuart McCall gets the ball, slips it to McCoist, edge of the box, and he builds right in the bottom corner. And you could see from the celebration, in fact, I think the commentator at the time said he was nearly in tears. That's how much it meant to him. And you see Archie Knox at the side going absolutely ballistic. And there's Walter at the side of him saying that the players keep their head, calm down, we're not there yet. But no, to go 1-0 up against them, it was. Against 10 men, it was incredible. And then the second half, obviously, Celtic, as they do, which we're used to during that kind of 9-in-a-row season, battered us, hit the post a couple of times. That Tony Mowbray, though, should have been sent off, though. He was booked in the first half, and then second half went for a ball in the box to head it, but used his hand, which the referee gives the free kick to Rangers. So he should have had a second yellow and be sent off. But no, Rangers held on and won the game, and you could see at the end what it kind of meant to the players. Walter comes right on the pitch. He's got McCoist right up in arms. He's the fists up there. And it's a typical Walter Smith Rangers performance, and basically what we were accustomed the whole of that 9-in-a-row season. That's what we remember. Most old firms against Celtic, a lot of them are 1-0 wins for us, and that's kind of how it went. But it was a typical Rangers, Walter and Super Ally performance.
No, as I say, I watched the highlights back. I don't remember this one watching it. I was obviously a bit too young at the time. You can see that it was a horrific day at Hampden. The weather's horrific, and I couldn't believe that at the start when I come up and it told you what the ground was like and what way the wind was blowing. It's something you kind of don't see every day. But yeah, you can see at the end there how much it meant to the players to hold on to get the win. And as I say, when McCoist scores, you can see how much it means to him. So yeah, I would say just in the notes here as well, it just says that the final Rangers go on to play Airdrie when McCoist scores again along with Hateley for Rangers to win 2-1. So happy days there. So we'll just move on straight into game 2 then. The Battle of Britain, as it was known, and it's Leeds 1, Rangers 2. Rangers winning 4-2 on aggregate. This game is from the 4th of November in 1992. So the lineup that day was Gorham, McPherson, Gough, Brown, Robertson, McCall, Durrant, Ferguson, Gordon, McCoist and Hateley. So Ali, I know this is probably quite a famous game in Rangers history. I don't think there's many people that won't have seen the highlights and that from this game, but just kind of talk us through then why this game meant so much to you and why you've picked it out as part of your hero McCoist's time at Rangers.
This is one that I do remember. Obviously, I've watched it back umpteen times on YouTube that most people probably have. Back then, to be honest, one of my mum and dad's friends at the time were from Yorkshire, named Keith, and he was a big Leeds fan at the time. And I remember we'd actually just moved into our new house at the time, and we just moved into it, and this game was on, and I was allowed to go and stay and watch. Obviously, I was still young at the time when I was watching it on telly, but Keith was up. He was a big Leeds fan, so he was watching it. My dad was watching it. But I always remember back then the two of them going into this game. The English press, I think they'd written Rangers off. I think they looked at kind of up here in Scotland as they do down there. Look at us up here as a kind of like a Diddy league, to be honest. Obviously, the first game, Rangers won 2-1. Again, McCoist scored in that game. They obviously went 1-up straight away. But back then, they didn't have the fans in both stadiums, which was due to safety and security reasons reading into it. That's why they didn't have fans. They agreed not to have the fans. And obviously, the first game was 2-1 to Rangers. Leeds started. It was McAllister when he scored that goal, and obviously just silence at Ibrox, which was weird. And then we went on to win 2-1. Lukic came out to punch a ball and punched into his net. And then obviously McCoist to get to 2-1. But it was even before we played Leeds, so it was weird how Leeds actually got to play us, though, which I don't know if a lot of folk realised that actually Leeds, to get into it, we actually played Lyngby of Denmark, who we beat 2-0 at home, and then we beat 1-0 away. McCoist actually scored in the first game there. But Leeds actually played Stuttgart, and they lost 3-0 to Stuttgart away in the first round. But they won the return game, 4-1, which meant Stuttgart went away through away goals. But actually, Stuttgart fielded an ineligible player, which we'll know from obviously Celtic recently. So what happened was they were actually awarded a 3-0 win. So obviously it was tied. So what happened was they had a one-off game at a neutral ground, which was a Nou Camp, and and Leeds ended up winning that game 2-1. So that's how they ended up to play Rangers.
That's pretty incredible, that, actually, when you read that. That really is.
I mean, a lot of people probably don't know that, and if you actually research it, but that's how they actually came to play Rangers, which is quite a weird one. But no, the second game, obviously, we were into it. I mean, if you've seen a lot of Rangers documentaries, listen to the players in the past. We've met Andy Gorham in the pub, he's told us stories and stuff. The English press Rangers off, even at 2-1 going down Ellen Road, written him off. Leeds, obviously, the Cantona and all the players they had, they would turn Rangers over. But no, after only, was it 5 minutes, Mark Hateley, what a goal.
Screamer, absolute screamer.
Goalkeeper on his arse when he hit it. It was, what a goal. And that was Rangers 3-1 in aggregate. And they're thinking, can you see Leeds coming back from that? I couldn't really, to be honest. And then the second goal, I've watched this goal so many times. Coming out from the back, I think it was Gallant comes out with it. I think there's a dummy. It goes out to Hateley. Doesn't have to look to see where McCoist is. Whips the ball. There he is. Back post. Bang. Right in the bottom corner. Goes away again. Silence. Onto his knees. I think it's Dale Gordon or something. Actually, jumps on top of him, and that's 2-0. And then you're 4-1 in aggregate. Leeds got a goal back through Eric Cantona with a couple of minutes to go. And it was through. Andy Gorham again was immense that game, which obviously through 9 in a row and everything, he was immense. And another wee fact for that game was on the bench that day was actually Rod Wallace, who actually comes on to play with us in the Advocate years.
Yeah, he sure does.
Another wee fact there. But no, it was a great game, that one.
That's a fantastic game, and I think this is the kind of peak of the Hateley and McCoist partnership that we kind of grew up watching. That after Hateley scores that goal and he runs towards the camera, it was the touchline, it was the bench. I always remember seeing that growing up and seeing how kind of bright the lights were and stuff like in the stadium at the time. And that top, I mean, that's probably my second favourite Rangers top of kind of all time. I think it was probably the first one that I ever got. But and I say the wee interesting fact there with the way Leeds got into being able to play against Rangers. It's not something you kind of hear about that often, and the new camp seems like the most kind of neutral venue.
It's quite bizarre how they do that, and then obviously from there we go into what is obviously the Champions League. We are one of the founding members of that. And obviously we know what happens there. I mean, that's another show in its own.
That's another show in its own, mate.
But yeah, no, great times.
Yeah,
great times.
Interesting Rodney Wallace on the bench for that as well.
You wouldn't have thought that, would you?
Not at all. So yeah, that's a cracking second game to talk about with McCoist. He's always there, isn't he? He's always there. So game 3, we'll just move on, is Rangers v Hibs in the Scottish League Cup final on the 24th of October 1993, and Rangers winning 2-1 this day. So the starting 11 for Rangers was Ali Maxwell, Gary Stevens, David Robertson, Richard Gough, Dave McPherson, Stuart McCall, Trevor Stephen, Ian Ferguson, Ian Durant, Mark Hateley, Peter Hoostera. So why this game in particular, Alistair?
To me, that this game sums up Ally McCoist. Sums up as a player. I don't know if a lot of people know, he was out for 6 months with a broken leg that he got being international duty with Scotland. So that's why he was on the bench here. Rangers win this game, won a treble the year before, so they were looking to get the second treble. This would be the first, trying to get back into the game. So this game, again, it was a tough game for Rangers. Hibs were not a bad team back then, so it was never going to be a walkover. But Rangers started, first half was a bit kind of 50-50. Into the second half, 55th minute, it was the first goal for Rangers. It was a great goal. Ian Durant runs through, in fact, kind of sort of chips, dinks the keeper. Then we go 1-up. But not long after that, we do it was a kind of Rangers goal to give away in the box. It was a bit of a mix-up in the box. I think it was Keith Wright that played for Hibs at the time. hit a ball back towards. It was a cross-type shot, to be honest. Hits off big Dave McPherson. It's a own goal to make it 1 each, which it wasn't the greatest of goals to watch back. But you're going 1 each. Hibs have got their tails up. It's obviously cup final. You know how it happens sometimes. So just as that happened, you see Ally McCoist warming up the touchline, which gives the Rangers fans a big boost. So Walter puts him on. I think he's kind of throwing the dice, to be honest, at this point, to see kind of get anything out of him. So basically, it's 10 minutes to go in this game. Not only Rangers get a throw in out in the touchline. So ball comes into the box. It was David Robertson that threw it in. Mark Haley tries to jump to flick it, kind of misses, bounces. McCoist takes it in the chest, and then overhead kick right into the corner of the net. What a goal it was, and he wheels away right away, and you can see him going absolutely mental. It was again, it kind of sums up Ally McCoist. Similar to the first game we talked about, as in like, if he can win these games himself just by a wee bit of magic. A lot of people think Ally McCoist is just a poacher, a lot of tap-ins, but a lot of his goals are outstanding goals. I mean, if you've got time to look at Ally McCoist's goals on YouTube, a lot of his goals are outstanding goals. They're not just 6-yard tap-ins like a kind of Chris Boyd now that he used to do, but no, what a goal. Overhead kick as well, and a fitting goal to win that cup, to be honest.
Yeah, I think this you're completely right. This game just sums up McCoist and who he was and what it meant to him to play for Rangers and never meant to score for Rangers. This is another one of the goals that it's cemented in my head of seeing it from being younger. I'll never forget McCoist coming on, the overhead kick, the way everything, the way it happened, even the way the camera angle is when he makes connection with the ball. You can just see it going into the net, and it was always going in. And then McCoy standing up, he's shaking his head, he's shaking his hands. You can see how much it means to him. This is a true Ally McCoist goal.
Especially been out for 6 months as well. I mean, to come back after 6 months and score a winner in a cup final, doing it with an overhead kick.
I know. It's incredible. It really is. It sums Ally McCoist up, mate. It really, really does. I'll never forget it. It was a great one to watch back as well, just to see his face again when he scores. I
love seeing his reaction when he scores goals.
It's the best thing.
It's emotion. It's raw emotion. Great. You just see what it means to him.
So we'll move on to a game that I very much remember. Game 4 is Rangers v Hearts in the League Cup final from the 24th of November in 1996. Rangers winning 4-3. I remember this game because I was at this game, and I remember it was at Parkhead, and where the jungle was. It was getting rebuilt all at the time, and there was a wee temporary stand behind it, and that's where we were. And I remember the weather was particularly bad that day, and also to get there. And we were on the bus coming up, and we didn't know if we were actually going to make it to the game. And we were on this whatever it was, a bit of scaffolding really is all it was. And Rangers fans don't sit down in games like this, so the whole stand was jumping the whole way through it. Everybody's standing up doing the bouncing, the whole thing's literally moving closer towards the park. But so we'll jump into it anyway. So the starting lineup for Rangers that day was Andy Gorham, Alec Cleland, Craig Moore, Richard Gough, Gordon Petrich, Joachim Bjorklund, Charlie Miller, Paul Gascoigne, Ally McCoist, George Alberts and Brian Laudrup. So a lot to unravel in this game, to be fair, Ali. There's a lot goes on in this game. So we'll just start from the top. So why this game?
Again, it's probably one of the most memorable ones. I mean, back then, Hearts were a good team back then. I mean, a lot of people forget. I mean, back then, Hearts had really good players. I mean, Neil McCann went and played for Davy Weir. Used to went and played for us. Colin Cameron, Fulton, Paul Ritchie, I think played for us as well. They're a good team, Hearts, really good team, Hearts. But I think it was a lot of things. How obviously the way the game went, stories within the game. It was a good game to watch.
This game was almost a show on its own. To be fair, how much happens in this game, it's pretty unbelievable what happens in this game.
There's lots, and a lot of guys have maybe went after dinner circuits and that, or they've watched the videos and stuff of the guys. And there's a lot of stories on this game as well, and what happened during the game, and there was also a fallout in the game, which we want to talk about. Yeah. But it was, and obviously it was at Parkhead as well, because at the time Hampden was getting redeveloped, so that's why it was at Parkhead. But I mean, it couldn't have started better for Rangers. Rangers obviously went. Well, obviously they scored in the 11th minute through McCoist. He missed a sitter after that as well, which I think I vaguely remember. Yeah. But obviously that's Ally McCoist. He misses a lot, but he scores a lot. But in the 27th minute, we go 2 up. It was a ball into the box. It came back across McCoist, literally right in between the two centre backs, heads it into the net to go 2 each. So then you're thinking 2-0. This is going to be a canter. But just before half time, again, one of the guys we're saying was not a bad player for Hearts, Steve Fulton, actually, he pulls a goal back. So they're going in 2-1 at half time.
He was a hell of ugly though, Fulton.
He was an ugly man. He is one of them, isn't he?
I think he might be.
In fact, his boy plays down south for someone. I think he's not a bad Jay Fulton or something. He plays down south for somebody, but that's going off track there. But he's not the best looking. But no, that happened 2-1. So you're going in at half time 2-1 down. But literally, what happened just before half time was Gascoigne tried to play a short pass to McCoist, which obviously didn't come off. McCoist didn't take too kindly to it, and then they had a wee bit of a scuffle. So the two of them had to be sort of dragged apart going in at half time, which isn't great. I know you're winning 2-1, but they've just got a goal before half time. Two of your players are a bit scrapping with each other going into the tunnel. So it wasn't great. But a story about that was obviously the after dinner circuits night, you hear them all. But one of them was when he came in, McCoist knew with Walter to be quiet, basically, when you come in, don't speak. And obviously, you know what Gascoigne's like. He'll say something. Yes. Said something. So Walter, obviously, who I would not. I've met Walter Smith before. I've had a couple of chats with him, but you wouldn't mess with him.
No.
Puts Gascoigne up and basically on his hook and hangs him up and tells him to shut up. McCoist's just sitting there. And Archie Knox actually comes over to Gascoigne and says, "You go and get a couple of drinks, in you." So Gascoigne actually goes up to the director's box at Parkhead in his full gear, and he's told us to a couple of times. Gascoigne has a treble brandy, so he downs a treble brandy. This is at half time, which you wouldn't see us now. Comes all the way back down. Game kicks off, which it's mental. So 2-1, second half, game kicks off, but then it couldn't go any worse. Hearts get an equaliser. Through John Robertson, who again, back then, good player. Yep. He was our sort of talisman, but after 59 minutes. So again, you're 2 each are going, where's this going to go? Hearts have got the momentum, but Paul Gascoigne, I mean, the guy can just produce magic. Obviously, that's triple brandy helped as well, but there was literally 2 minutes of magic from Gascoigne. He scores the next 2 goals, but they were within 2 minutes. His first goal drives at the Hearts defence and literally shoots, kind of passes into the bottom corner. But the second goal for me was outstanding. He gets it just outside, just in the Hearts half, just outside the byline. Picks a ball up, dummies through a player, gets the 1-2 with Charlie Miller back to him, and literally again it's a kind of pass, kind of chip into the bottom corner. Outstanding goal for Rangers to go 4-2 up, and then obviously McCoist and Gascoigne are back favourite friends again. But it was great to go 4-2 up. We do concede last kind of couple of minutes to of all players a Davy Weir header. 4-3, but it's at the very end of the match. Rangers hold on, and we win 4-3. But another wee point from that match, which probably a lot of folk don't know, is Neil McCann, who would come on to play for us again. He was a great winger. He actually won man of the match in that game, and it was actually sponsored by Coca-Cola then. and what they gave you to be man of the match was a Coca-Cola mountain bike.
No.
So there's a picture, but you'll find it on Twitter actually. There's a picture of Neil McCann standing there looking pretty miserable, to be honest, because they've just been beaten 4-3 with a Coca-Cola mountain bike, which he was given to.
Oh, thanks very much. I'll just head home now then. Aye.
Home and that.
That's brilliant.
But no, it was a great game, and it was obviously that was an era where obviously McCoist scored the 2 goals and stuff, but it was an era where obviously you had Gascoigne and Laudrup in that team, who was immense. I mean, I've met Gascoigne once, just for a small side story. My grandfather's house was for sale outside just Helenswood at the time, and Gascoigne was one of the guys who came to view it, and obviously I had to be there because he was coming.
Yeah.
And he had the blonde hair at the time,
yeah.
And I got his autograph. My mum always said to me, she went, "You were more interested in Cheryl," which was his wife at the time, because she had the big black leather boots at the time. I was interested in that. But no, great game, that one. Great game, but it was, again, McCoist, 2 goals again in that game.
Yeah, like I say, it shows he was so prolific kind of throughout his career, really, at Rangers. He was always good for a goal. I say with the players, as you've mentioned, with Laudrup, Gaza around about him, it only helped McCoist.
Yeah.
Because McCoist was always in the right place at the right time, and we had all these players to make sure we found him at the right place at the right time. It was great, and I say Gaza's a different class, and
the 2 of them got on well.
Oh, of course they did. It was clear to see that they got on quite well, and this was just a kind of lover's spat, really, more than it was anything else.
It was. But going slightly off, still McCoist and Gascoigne, but my favourite story, obviously McCoist talks about quite a lot these days, and he tells a lot of the Gascoigne stories about him and Gascoigne. But my favourite one for him and Gascoigne, as he told, was when he was staying in his house one night, and Gascoigne lived in the sort of next village across from him, and his wife that day was like, I can hear somebody in the kitchen, and McCoist's like, so what he does, he goes in, and he was playing golf at the time, and he picks one of the clubs up, goes down the stairs. So he's going into the kitchen with this golf club, and he can hear somebody in the kitchen, and he's like, "You wasn't intruding on your house. You're kind of shiting yourself in case who's this." So he goes in with the golf club, and what he sees when he opens is the back of Gascoigne's head in his fridge, and he's like, "Paul, what are you doing?" And Gascoigne turns around and goes, "Just made a sandwich." He's like, "How did you get in?" And he went, "I remember you had the spare key under the tree outside. I just put myself in and get a sandwich." So he goes back up into bed, and his wife at the time, which was Alison, said, who's in the kitchen? He went, "If it's all right, it's just Paul making a sandwich." That was it.
It's fantastic, it really is. Guys, I say Gaza's a different show on his own, and I'm pretty sure soon enough we'll have a full episode of Generation Wales with Gaza. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, as I say, one of the crazy games. I remember, as I say, being there. As I say, we were late getting there. I missed the first goal, and then just remember thinking Rangers are going to throw it all away. And as you say, the McCoist goals were kind of put us in control, and then everything seemed to fall apart. And then just the sheer class and the sheer determination of Gaza to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and to kind of pull Rangers over the line. It was an absolutely great game. So we'll get to your last game now, Ali, and it's game number 5. It's Celtic 1, Rangers 2. It's the Scottish Cup semi-final on the 5th of April 1998. So the starting 11 for Rangers that day was Gorham, Cleland, Alberts, Gough, Petric, Bjorkland, Tern, McCoist, Gattuso, McCall and Laudrup. So, Ali, this is quite a substantial game in the career of Ally McCoist. Just want to kind of talk us through why you've obviously singled this one out as your last game.
Again, it's obviously it's a Rangers Celtic game, but not just because of that. It was McCoist. Obviously that season we were going for 10 in a row. At that time we'd won the 9, we were going for 10. The team, it was coming to the end of its kind of era. But why I picked this one is because this is McCoist's final goal in an Old Firm against Celtic for Rangers, and obviously what it meant to him. But it was Aye, it was that season going for the 10. The team was aging, but there was still that 9-0 team there. There was still the fight there, but that game then it was played at Parkhead. Obviously, it was a semi-final, which should have been at Hampden, like a neutral venue. But at the time, they did a ballot for it to where it was played, and obviously Celtic won a ballot, so I ended up going to Parkhead.
Right.
Although the fans were still 50-50, ended up going to them, so they had the advantage straight away in terms it was their ground. But no, this game was a typical Old Firm at Parkhead, you could say. I mean, Celtic battered us in the first half.
Yeah.
Andy Gorham pulling off save after save, what he did through that era.
Yeah.
Also, Amoruso made his debut that day. He came on for Gordon Petric, who got injured, so that was when Amoruso kind of started his career with Rangers. But no, it was first half, Celtic absolutely all over us. They battered us. Gorham kept us in the game. Second half, we come more into the game. In fact, we were the better team in the second half. Laudrup missed a great chance in the 67th minute when he went through, but he should have chipped the keeper. And then straight after that, pretty much Alberts had another good chance, but the keeper saved it. But Rangers were right on top at the time. But the goal that came broke. It was Jonas Tern at the time. Alberts took a bounce before it got to McCoist, sort of diving header into the bottom corner, and it's like a sort of symbolic moment. Everyone would have seen it. He drops to his knees, his hands is in his he's crying, comes over, I think Gough comes over him, they embrace, and it was typical Ally McCoist against Celtic. He's always there. I think the commentator said he's a scourge against Celtic in terms he's always.
They hated him.
Aye.
Oh, they hated him.
Always a guy that would sort of break their hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, I always used to love Sky because every time we beat them, they would pan into one of that mob in the stadium, crying their eyes out, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, hopefully we see that this season at the end. Brilliant, but no, a typical Ally McCoist goal, right in where he should be, diving header right in there, and Rangers went one up. But after that, let's say Rangers were on top, and then after that, were probably possibly one of the best Old Firm goals I've seen in a Rangers game, in a Rangers Celtic game, when it was Alberts drove with the ball from inside. It was our side of the half. Literally drove past 2-3 Celtic players into the box and absolutely smashes it in the top corner. What a goal! What a goal! Oh, what a goal! And that's us 2-0 up. Celtic got a consolation at the end. Just a couple of minutes before the end of the game, in the 90th minute, I think it was. But I know we hold on to win that game. We won that 2-1. In fact, we actually played them. It was a week later we played them in the league when we actually won again. Jonas Tern again, one of the goals you would have seen.
Welter.
What a strike it was.
What a goal.
And then again, Albert scored a similar goal to what he scores in this game.
Yeah. Driving
again, bottom corner. But it was after that game is where we kind of lost the league that time. We had 4 games to go, and we lost away to Aberdeen 1-0, and we lost to Kilmarnock at home 1-0. And the Kilmarnock game was the one that
hurt. Aye, that was
the one that killed us.
Yeah, that was
we did go on to the final to play Hearts. Like I say, Hearts had a really good team then back, and we actually lost that game 2-1.
Yeah,
but who scored the goal for us? It was Super Ally again.
Ally. I remember this game. I remember even now when you see it and you see what it means to McCoist, and you know that McCoist knows that this is the last time that this is going to happen for him. And it'll bring a tear to your eye because he's a hero of mine, McCoist as well. He's forever Super Ally. And see, even when you think about the players that all of a sudden had started to appear for Rangers as well, and like Jonas Tern, we probably didn't get in the peak of his powers, but he was an unbelievable quality.
Gattuso as well.
Gattuso, yeah. Hammer as well. Albert's again another one. I'm sure we'll do a show on. But yeah, you could really see what it meant to McCoist, and I still remember losing 10. It's probably my biggest Rangers regret is the fact that we didn't do it.
I just think they came you could maybe say it's similar to this Celtic team at the moment. They're maybe come to the end of what they are, to be honest. We try to bring players in. I mean, Negri was on the bench for this game, who probably came in as a replacement for McCoist at the time. Also, we know what happened to Negri the following season. He scored 17 goals and then...
It was 165 goals by November or something like that, I think.
Went and played squash and that was the end of it.
Played squash in inverted commas.
That was the end of it. Yeah. But no, Rangers should have won. And I think a lot of the Rangers players, this is their biggest regret. Yeah. That 9-in-a-row team, they know they should have won that.
You can see, as you've mentioned, though, you can see it was an aging team. It was kind of getting to the end of its powers, really. And I say it is unfortunate that it happened, but it will never really take away from what Ally McCoist contributed to Rangers. It was truly the end of an era with McCoist leaving. So that's us. We're at the end of the games you wanted to talk about, Ali. So it's obviously very clear to see why you picked Super Ali. His goal scoring record for Rangers will probably stand forever. A true Ranger and a true legend of our club.
Yeah, no, exactly. He'll always be my hero. I always remember him as the player. Like I say, my first... Obviously, when you get the names in the back of your top, the first one I had was McCoist on the back of my top. In fact, I went to one of the friendlies I think it was last year, we played Marseille. We won 4-0. My niece Millie, we took her at the game and she actually wore my McCoist top.
That's brilliant.
And it brought back a memory of that was me.
Yeah,
back then. Yeah. And I was actually quite a proud moment, to be honest, to see that. Obviously, she doesn't understand it being that, but no,
she will one day, mate.
I know she will. But no, it was a good moment actually seeing her, because I always, like you said, I always keep my old tops. I've got them all, but it was good to see that. But no, he'll always be a hero of mine, and it's good to see him. It's good to see him doing what he loves doing at the moment, which is in the media. He's really good at it, and you see him in Sky Sports, everything on Talk Sport. He's brilliant at it. That's the type of guy I like to sort of remember him. Cheeky chap. He's very knowledgeable in the game as well. Yeah. But no,
maybe slightly biased, but
I know
we can allow that.
Maybe slightly. Might talk about rubbish sometimes, but no, he's no. He'll always be my hero. You can always say about the management side of it, but we're talking about playing side and. Again, 355 goals.
You just can't argue it, mate. You can't. You cannot argue with it at all. So yeah, that is us. So if you would like to appear on the show, just get in touch with us via the social media pages, and of course, if you have any feedback, good or bad, we would love to hear your insight. If you enjoyed the show, please like, comment, and subscribe on Apple, Acast, and YouTube. So just time for me to thank my guest this week. Thank you very much, Ali, for coming on.
No problem, Scott. Pleasure to be here, and good to talk about one of my heroes. It'll be good to hear about other people's heroes and their stories too.
Very much so, mate. And last by no means least, thank you to all for listening. I have been Scott Carney, and I'll speak to you all soon for another episode of Generation Bears. Take care.